Welcome back to Northwest Elite Spirit, the channel you come to train your mind, body, and spirit. I'm Coach Brian. If you haven't hit that subscribe button yet, do that now and make sure to ring the notification bell to stay up to date on all of my newest releases. This is A Surprise Awaits You from Encounters with the Nagual, Conversations with Carlos Castaneda by Armando Torres from the chapter The Dreaming Double. Carlos said to me, "Within our sphere of perception, there is a force separated from what we call myself, which is detectable through dreaming. That force can be made aware of itself, absorbing the principles of our personality and behaving with independence. The sensation that dealing with it produces is unspeakable because it is an inorganic being." I asked, "Inorganic?" Carlos replied, "Of course. We call our everyday attention organic because it depends on a body made up of organs, right?" I agreed. Carlos continued asking, "Then what would you call the body with which you perceive and act when you dream?" I answered cautiously, "I would say that is an apparition." Carlos responded, "I agree. It is an inorganic being. It has appearance but no mass. For you, it is only a mental projection. However, from that being's point of view, it is our physical body that lives in an imaginary world. If you had the energy and the necessary concentration to become aware of your other self, and if you asked that being what it thinks of your everyday world, it would answer that it considers it quite unreal, almost a myth. And you know what? It would be right. Our dreaming body has many uses. It can move in no time to whatever place you want and discover things. It can even be materialized, creating a visual double, something that other people can see whether they are sleeping or awake. However, it continues being a mere appearance. It does not have any bodily functions. A human being may see it as person, but an animal would see it differently." I interrupted Carlos asking, "How do you know all that?" Carlos said, "It is so simple. I verify it constantly because my dreaming double receives all my attention. When I want to know something from my dreaming double, or about the world where it moves, I ask it and it tells me. You can also do it. It is not that difficult. You can contact your energy this very night as soon as you fall asleep." I asked, "How?" Carlos said, "There are many ways. For example, look for a mirror in your dreams. Lean towards it and look yourself in the eyes. You will see what a surprise awaits you." I had read something about the double in Carlos's books, but my prejudices prevented me from approaching that matter with an open mind. In my mind, there was a great confusion about concepts like our energy body, our dreaming double, and concepts like the luminous egg, an energetic field that surrounds living beings. I asked Carlos if those things were all the same thing or if there was some difference between them. He was surprised by my question and said, "Have you not understood anything? We are speaking of awareness, not of physical objects. Those entities, even the perceptive unit we call the physical body, are descriptions of the same thing because there are not two of you. You are you. It is not that you have an energy body. You are energy. You are an assemblage point that assembles emanations. You are only one. You can have various dreams and you can have a different appearance in each one. You can be either human, animal, or inorganic. Or you can even dream that you are several people at the same time, but you cannot fragment your being aware." Carlos told me that my confusing our sense of being and the various descriptions of our vehicles of awareness is common. This is particularly true for people who have a robust and intellectual internal dialogue. Carlos said, "Once I went to see an Oriental teacher, and our conversation relapsed into dreaming. The man called himself an expert, and he boasted to me, 'I have 7 dreaming bodies.' I was overwhelmed by this revelation and did not know what to answer. I finally admitted to him, 'Don Juan only taught me 1. When Carlos said this, he pulled his head down between his shoulders as if he were very shy, but was hiding a cynical giggle. I asked, "So when you speak of the dreaming double and of the energy body, you are talking about the same thing?" "Practically. The first one can be reached through dreaming, and the second by means of stalking. Or to put it another way, the energy body is the dreaming double with voluntary control on the part of the dreamer. But both are one and the same thing. The difference lies in the way one reaches it. The ancient sorcerers molded their dreaming by the power of their will and tried to reproduce the physical body down to the smallest detail. My calling it a double stems from my tradition. The idea makes practical sense since we are so accustomed to see ourselves in a certain way and only in that way. In the beginning, it is very comfortable for the dreamer to consider himself in physical terms. But the new seers say that taking this intent toward physicality to its furthest consequences is a useless waste, because it forces us to dedicate huge quantities of attention to details that will never have any practical use. Seers have learned to see ourselves as what we really are, bubbles of energetic awareness, like light. I asked Carlos if, in the classic Nagualism of pre-Hispanic people, sorcerers' ability to become animals consisted of trying to see themselves with animal bodies. He looked at me as if saying, "Elementary." He then said, "Dreaming is the deliberate use of the energy body. Energy is plastic, and if you apply a constant pressure to it, it will eventually adopt the form you want. Double is the Nagual, the other, the stamp of Nagualism. When you control it, you are on the road to becoming whatever you want, whether that be a beast or a free being. Of course, to achieve something so specialized as becoming an animal cannot just be improvised. There are procedures. The double is managed through the fixation of the assemblage point in new positions. Such a fixation has an obsessive nature, and it should be evoked with sorcerer's methods. For example, if you're yearning to be a hawk, and if you attempt it with inflexibility, you will end up becoming a hawk. Each one of us will achieve what we look for. So the trick of the Nagual is to manage your obsessions. However, you should know that people become blocked if they focus on objectives that are not exclusively those of freedom and sobriety. That takes them to madness or to the most crass ordinariness. Truly, what we are all doing is choosing to be men, and so we are. Therefore, any obsession not properly managed means slavery. The problem with many Naguals of modern Mexico is that they have forgotten the abstract possibilities. There are sorcerers who prefer to become turkeys, and they do not come out of that form. What is more, many do not have any idea that they can do something more with their energy than pursue strong sensations and scare others. That decadence of the teachings is what moved seers of Don Juan's lineage to attempt freedom in the most impersonal way possible, by abandoning all the capricious positions of the assemblage point which they had inherited from their ancestors. The purpose of freedom is absolutely clean and displaces all others. By attempting it, new seers have restored the purity of Nagualism. I asked Carlos about the enormous effort which is undoubtedly required in order to prepare a double in the environment of dreaming. He answered, "For the new sorcerer seers, that effort is the other option. That is the door to another realm of awareness, an awareness which will allow them, at the proper moment, to intend their definitive step into the third attention. By providing autonomy and purpose to their double, seers are preparing to remain conscious after death. When that body is complete and that moment arrives, the seer's awareness abandons the human shell for good. The physical body withers and dies, but the sense of being continues."